Imagine standing atop the walls of Rome, smoke thick in the air, the roar of battle below. But you're not a soldier, you're a scholar, a legal advisor to General Belisarius. This was the world of Procopius of Caesarea, eyewitness to the chaos of the Gothic War. He didn't just record victories. He revealed the fear, exhaustion, and desperation of those living through the collapse of an empire. Procopius exposed political intrigue and scandals, making his work feel like a secret diary from the 6th century. He was there, and he wrote it all down, giving us a front-row seat to history, raw and deeply human. Through his words, we can almost feel the heat of the burning city. The Gothic War was a brutal 3-act tragedy. In 535 AD, Emperor Justinian dreamed of restoring Rome and sent his best general, Belisarius, to reclaim Italy from the Ostrogoths. Belisarius swept through Sicily, Naples and Rome, but the victory was short-lived. The Goths regrouped under King Totila, mastered guerrilla tactics and turned the tide. Desperate Justinian sent Narses, who crushed the Goths in a final decisive battle. By 554 AD, Italy was a wasteland, ruined and depopulated after 20 years of war. The Gothic War stands as a warning. Even the greatest ambitions can end in disaster. Who was Belisarius? To Procopius, he was the last great Roman general, a hero, brilliant and loyal. He captured Rome with a tiny force and held it against overwhelming odds, a feat that became legendary. Belisarius was a master strategist, using deception and maneuver to outwit his enemies. He inspired his men and frustrated the Goths at every turn, but he was also a victim of court politics. Justinian, ever suspicious, withheld support, fearing Belisarius's popularity. Belisarius fought the Goths with one hand and watched his back with the other. His loyalty was unwavering, even as he was undermined and recalled. In the end, his rival Narses claimed the final victory. Belisarius faded into the background. A brilliant commander denied his full potential. Procopius's portrait is both admiring and tragic. Belisarius served an ungrateful master, sacrificing everything for an empire that never truly rewarded him. His story is a reminder of the cost of loyalty in a world ruled by suspicion. Through Procopius, Belisarius stands as the last Roman, a hero in a collapsing world. His legend endures, even as the empire he fought for crumbled. Just as the Byzantines thought victory was theirs, Totila emerged, a new Gothic king who changed everything. Young, charismatic and shrewd, Totila understood that this war was for the hearts and minds of Italians. While Byzantines imposed taxes and foreign rule, Totila promised freedom to slaves and land to peasants. He waged a war of attrition, cutting supply lines and isolating Byzantine cities. His radical social policies won him support and fresh recruits. Procopius, despite his loyalties, admired Totila's skill and justice. Totila treated conquered cities with mercy, feeding the starving and sparing defeated enemies. His reputation grew. He was seen as a liberator, not a conqueror. Under Totila, the Goths retook almost all of Italy, even recapturing Rome. His success embarrassed Justinian and exposed the fragility of Byzantine rule. The war dragged on, fueled by Totila's determination. He became the heart of the Gothic resistance. Totila's death in battle marked the end of Gothic hopes. Without him, the Goths collapsed. But he had given the Byzantine Empire its greatest challenge. Totila's legacy was a testament to the power of leadership in desperate times. Procopius wrote two faces of history. His public work praised Justinian and Belisarius, celebrating victories and crafting the official narrative. But behind the scenes, he penned a scathing, scandalous account never meant for public eyes. In it, Justinian is a tyrant, Theodora a ruthless manipulator. Procopius's private writings are filled with gossip, bitterness, and accusations. The contrast is stark, the polished historian versus the angry insider. Which is the real Procopius? Both. The shows the public mask required in a dangerous autocracy. The reveals the private doubts and frustrations of a man close to power. Together they offer a rare three-dimensional view of Justinian's world. We see both the glory and the rot beneath the surface. Procopius teaches us to question official stories and look for hidden motives. His dual accounts are a masterclass in historical perspective. Through them, we glimpse the true complexity of power. Procopius's legacy is not just what he wrote, but how he wrote, always aware of the dangers and the truths that lay beneath. He remains our essential guide to the secrets of empire. Procopius doesn't just recount battles, he exposes the human cost of the Gothic War. The sieges were nightmares of starvation, disease, and terror. Inside Rome, aqueducts were cut, baths fell silent, and the city began to die. Famine drove people to desperate acts. Procopius tells of a mother who ate her own child. War was not glory, but relentless suffering. The fighting was brutal. Siege towers, ballistae, and constant skirmishes turned cities into slaughterhouses. Bodies piled up, and the dead were thrown from the walls. This horror played out across Italy. Naples, Milan, Rimini all endured their own hell. When Milan fell, Procopius describes a massacre so vast it defies belief. The numbers may be exaggerated, but the suffering was real. The Gothic War was total war, consuming land and people alike. It was a catastrophe, not a contest of heroes. Procopius forces us to confront the true face of war, one of misery, not triumph. His account is a stark reminder. History's greatest conflicts are tragedies for those who live through them. When the war ended in 554 AD, Italy was a shattered ruin. Justinian's victory was hollow. The land he reclaimed was devastated. Once prosperous cities were emptied, farmland abandoned, and the population decimated. The old Roman aristocracy vanished, and with them, the classical tradition. Infrastructure crumbled and society unraveled. The war, combined with plague, left Italy in a demographic winter. Within years, new invaders, the Lombards, swept in, and the Byzantines could barely hold coastal outposts. The dream of a restored Roman Italy died almost as soon as it began. The Gothic War broke Italy, paving the way for centuries of division and decline. In trying to restore the past, Justinian destroyed it. Procopius's account is a warning. The cost of empire can be the ruin of a civilization. The war's legacy was not unity, but fragmentation and loss. Italy would never be the same. Why does Procopius still matter? Because he gives us history with a human pulse. Trained in the classical tradition, he analyzed causes, judged leaders, and wrote sweeping narratives. His is a masterpiece, but it's his that makes him unique. Procopius reminds us that history is messy, personal, and driven by hidden motives. Reading both works teaches us to question the official story and seek the truth beneath. The Gothic War was the last great attempt to reclaim Rome's western heartland, and its failure marked the end of the ancient world. Procopius is our essential guide to this transformation. He grappled with the problem of truth, writing one version for the powerful, another for posterity. He gives us epic battles and whispered rumors, the public mask and the private face. Through his eyes, we witness the end of an era. He takes us from palaces to battlefields, showing us the cost of ambition and the fragility of civilization. Procopius is the man on the inside, our witness to the fall of Rome. And through him, we can almost feel the world changing beneath our feet.